The last several weeks, subsequent to the shooting at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, district parents and citizens contacted my office about school safety and asked a general question: are we prepared? This is mostly because in my 30-plus years as a resident of Roseville, I participated in a lot of different activities, served on the Roseville Joint Union High School District School Board, was involved with a youth football and cheer program, and during those experiences was able to get involved in the community and understand both children and parents and be conscious of what happens in school and making sure that our children are safe. As a public official, we can never shy away from discussing tough issues. And after I received those communications, I talked to several different folks in the community, both at the high school level and at the county level, and asked them, is this the time that we have, is this the right time to have this conversation? And the response was overwhelmingly yes, and for a lot of reasons. We've experienced throughout the country more and more of these events at high schools, middle schools, colleges, and now is the time that we, and just over the past 30 days, we've had several lockdown incidents here in our own community. So the speakers that I've asked to come tonight are a combination of school administrators, county administrators, and local law enforcement. Again, all of whom did not hesitate to volunteer to attend this forum to provide their input, and for that, I'm truly grateful. Before we begin the evening's forum, I'd like us to get focused on the work at hand by remembering the 17 lives lost in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. Thank you for indulging me in that payment of respect to those lives that we lost. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize the public officials that have attended and are in attendance tonight. We have officials from Roseville Joint Union High School District, Ron Severson, Superintendent, Julie Hirota, Board Member. From the Dry Creek School District, we have Jim Ferguson, Assistant Superintendent, Brad Tooker, Superintendent, and Bill Sheets, Board President from Dry Creek. We also have from Eureka Union School District, Tom Janis. From Loomis Union School District, Superintendent Gordon Med. Roseville City School District, Derek Garcia. And in addition to that, we do have County Clerk Recorder Brian Ronco. Tonight I'm excited to present to you representatives from the Roseville High School District, Roseville Police Department, Placer County Sheriff's Office, County Office of Education, and County Health and Human Services Department, who will discuss various topics related to school safety, and their specific roles in providing a safe environment for our kids. The purpose of this forum is not to scare you, but to make you aware of the depth and the breadth of our first responders' preparedness for campus crises. Review critical information that parents, educators, and students, and the general public should be aware of in the event of an on-campus incident, irrespective of whether it is violence-related or not. The information that you will hear tonight is mostly general safety and procedure, but one portion of the presentation will be specific to the high school district, specifically as to event preparedness, considering that we've had several lockdown events over the course of the last 30 days in Roseville and Granite Bay. We hope that this forum is the beginning of additional dialogue within the elementary, middle, and high schools in the weeks and months to come. We must continue to work hard to keep the lines of communication open at all levels. Our first presenter today is from County Health and Human Service Department, Dr. Rob Oldham. Actually, my apologies. From the Placer County Office of Education, we have James Anderberg, who serves as the Chief Operations Officer for Administrative Services. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Please let me know if I'm not able to be heard back there. Great, I can hear myself now. It's an honor to be here this evening on behalf of Superintendent Gail Garbellino Mojica. We have a county board meeting this evening, and so Gail was not able to make it, but she does send her regards to the community. We know at the county office it takes an engaged, active community to help create those safe learning environments, and that's the only way our kids are going to learn is if our environments are safe. I want to thank Supervisor Duran for assembling this meeting and his staff. It takes a lot of hard work to put these kind of things together, so thank you to his staff and to the supervisor. Thank you also to you for being here this evening. I know this is a little late for some people. It's a little past my bedtime almost, but I think it's important that you're here, and I'm glad to see the community is out for this. 16 years ago, I moved away from the private sector and went to work for PCOE, and I could never in my wildest dreams imagine the conversations that I've been having in the last few years about school violence. Part of my role at the county office as Chief Operations Officer is school safety and safe school plans. And I take the gravity of that every morning very seriously. February 14th, the day of the Parkland shooting in Florida, I was sitting in my office preparing materials for a presentation to the district superintendents here in Placer County. As I was doing that, I was watching on live TV the events in Parkland unfold, and it was absolutely sobering. It just reminds you of how important this work is. But what does give me hope, lifts my spirit, is the fact that we have so many wonderful professionals in this county that are working hard every day to help keep our kids safe at school and actually away from school also. And I'm glad to be part of that team. The county superintendent, after the Newtown shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary, really redoubled our efforts at the county office to help school districts in the county make safer schools and create better safe school plans. She created a sense of urgency around that mission, and that's why it is my biggest portion of my job. We do that in the county office in some different ways, and around safe schools and violence prevention, we do it through a few things. One is Gail immediately instituted a district safety committee that we meet on a quarterly basis. So all the school districts in the county, we meet at the county office and we talk through these really tough issues. We help each other with these tough issues, and we also then collaborate on trainings on these issues. Things like active shooter training for our administrators and our school professionals. We've got 2 more of those coming up in April and May. We work on reuniting parents with their kids, how to do that. I have never seen a more professional bunch of people other than the day that I helped reunite parents with their kids at E.V. Kane in Auburn after the shooting in Auburn. That was a tough day, and to watch the professionalism was amazing. So we work on those things in helping school districts. The county superintendent puts financial resources towards this. We subsidize school vulnerability studies, which help the school districts look at where they're vulnerable, what kind of things do they need to do to improve their school sites. We lead purchasing consortiums, and what we do there is we look for safety equipment that on a county-wide basis, maybe we can get a better price if we buy it together. So, such things as all-call systems, classroom safety kits. So we work hard to help each other with those kind of things. The county office then also has responsibility to make sure that each school in the county is doing their safe school plans. And I'm very, very happy to report that Placer County, since I've been involved in this, has a 100% participation in creating their safe school plans. We report that to the state superintendent of schools each year. So as I said, we have amazing professionals in this county, and it does give me hope that we're doing everything we can to try and reduce the possibility of violence in this county. The other things that the county office does outside of school safety that continues to put kids at the center of the discussion are our educational services people, and they work with all of our school districts on these kind of things. Multi-tier systems of support for student mental wellness, Placer Network of Care, which is a web-based initiative that on the website allows Placer County citizens to find out what services are available to them. Positive behavior intervention and support, that's a classroom tactic for helping kids that are showing signs of having maybe classroom problems. Cognito, which been at the county office 16 years. I was unaware of the problems with suicide in our young people's community. What Cognito does is a web-based training. It's available to every single teacher in the county to help with suicide prevention. The county office supports foster and homeless youth. We put on cultural competence training that helps to eliminate harassment in schools. And then we do over actually 30 trainings per year that, in addition to the safe school stuff, helps to help the student populations deal with the pressures that they're dealing with today. I'd mentioned earlier the trainings that we collaborate on and then put on at no cost to the school districts. Another one of those is cyber media and bullying, cyber bullying training that we have coming up in May. The pressures that our kids today face just through that avenue is amazing. So the county superintendent is fully committed to safe schools, and she wants the county office of education to be an asset to our school districts. And we have great partners with our districts in Placer County. So thank you.
Thank you, James. Really appreciate that information. We do want this forum to be interactive as possible. And as you came in, there were comment and question cards that were passed out. If you did not receive one and you would like one, please raise your hand, and one of our staff members will come and provide you a card and a pencil so you can get your comment. The way this is going to work is we're going to go ahead and go through our panelists. They're going to make their presentations, and then we're going to have a question and answer after that so we can get those questions and comments that you have to our panel to answer. Our next panelists are from the Placer County Health and Human Services Department. We have our County Health Officer, Dr. Robert Oldham, Dr. Twyla Abrahamson, who's also the Director of the County Children's System of Care.
Services programs. But we're always trying to get better, and so the cards I think are to get questions from you tonight, but also to get ideas, and would really appreciate you putting down your questions and ideas on the cards. We'll also be around afterwards if you have ideas. Sometimes it's kind of more personal. You have a situation, and so feel free to come up with us, or we can give you our email addresses where you can contact us with kind of more specific questions to your circumstances. The last thing I would just say is that everything, we talk a lot about school safety, but our day-to-day work is in promoting health, and so kind of daily things that we can do to make our communities more healthy will also make us more safe. And so having more social connection, like coming to meetings like this and getting involved in your community. I'm a father of 4 children here in Roseville, and kind of being involved in our school. We just had a loss of our swim coach died tragically in the last couple of days, and kind of letting your teachers and people know what's going on in your family's life, not just will help your family, but can help the whole community. Kind of so staying involved and engaged is something that helps our everyday health and well-being, but also helps to keep us safe. So with that, I would like to hand it off to Dr. Twyla Abrahamson, who is our Director of the Children's System of Care.
Thank you, Dr. Oldham, and thank you all for coming in here tonight. We also want to thank Supervisor Duran. As Dr. Oldham said, being a part of this panel is something that we actually don't do on a regular basis, but we're working with everyone here on a daily basis. Our role here tonight is in a support role for the most part, and as Dr. Oldham said, that we have a lot of supportive services that we do in order to enhance prevention and intervention in the schools, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about what some of those things are. But as Rob just said as well, I'm one of your neighbors as well. I live here in Roseville, have for the past 20 years, and so I'm also very interested in taking care of our community. So again, I wanted to thank all of you for coming out here tonight, because as you'll see with some of the other presenters tonight, and also with some of my comments, you're a big piece of this puzzle. You're a big piece of the solution as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So what is our role here tonight? Through Health and Human Services, and specific to this topic, the Children's System of Care, we offer mental health services both through our Children's System of Care and our Adult System of Care, and also substance use services. And that's obviously key to some of the situations that we've had. We don't want to imply that everyone with a mental disorder also has violent tendencies, because that's not actually what the research shows, but we do know that there are some elements that are common to folks. It's not very easy, however, to predict violence, as we've seen with some of the folks recently. There were not very many signs. However, parents should start, if they have any thoughts or if you notice any changes with your children, you should start with your school campus resources. There are a lot there. There's school counselors, and then also law enforcement has school resource officers that are on all of your campuses. And they're there, obviously, for you to talk to. If you notice changes in your child or your youth, please make sure that they know, because they have resources that are on all the school campuses, and you don't necessarily have to go anywhere else, but you can start there. And I would be remiss if I also didn't mention, start with your pediatrician as well. There may be a medical condition that might be causing something that's going on with your youth or your teen, that there are changes in their behavior, diet, mood, that might be a medical condition rather than a mental health or a substance use one. So there's a lot of resources on the campus. School counselors work very closely also with the County Office of Education and County Health and Human Services, and all of our law enforcement partners here too, if there is an incident. And so we're there a lot of the time, but it's not just in response to incidents. James mentioned one of the programs that's on the school campuses. So to tell you how intertwined we are, some of those services, such as Cognito that he mentioned, that is something that's funded actually through the Health and Human Services Department. So even if we're not directly on the campuses all the time, we're funding some of these prevention and treatment services. So we fund some of the prevention services, which we mentioned, Cognito. There's also some teen wellness programs. positive behavior interventions and supports, and safe talk. One of the other things that we do is we also assist through funding and programs to help train teachers. Remember, teachers are educators first, but they also need to be trained nowadays to recognize signs and symptoms of mental health issues. So some of the programs that are in the schools are mental health first aid and assist, mental health assist. And so those are funded through our HHS programs as well. But back to you. Parents have a huge role in detecting issues in the community. You know your children. You know their friends. You're the ones that actually see them at soccer games, at church, at backyard barbecues. You're the first person usually to notice that something has changed with yourself, your children, or your children's friends. So because you see them before other folks notice, please reach out for assistance. You can reach out to someone you trust at the school, your school officials, school counselor, school resource officers, or certainly any of the resources that we're going to mention that are on the back table. There are community interventions that you can use as well in community agency providers. We have family resource centers that are located in the communities that you don't have to have insurance, you don't have to anything, you don't have to be formally involved in any system at all, and you can just go and ask for help. Kids First is located in the Roseville, that's our family resource center, and the Lighthouse out in Lincoln, just those two to mention some, and we also have family resource centers in the Tahoe community as well. Back on the back desk, or back table, we have a list of providers in the community as well, besides the family resource centers. This has resources of community agencies, community providers. It also has our lines for our adult system of care and our children's system of care. And it also has, again, some web-based assistance as well. And that might be a little bit easier for your youth, particularly your teens, to engage with. So if you notice something in another youth, or you notice something on social media, that's where some of these tips have come into law enforcement. So we want you to continue to do that if you can. Tell your school officials, call law enforcement if you notice something. Obviously, as parents, you have access to more of the social media that your children are using in your youth. Obviously, they're not using Facebook anymore. That's what you use. So they're on Snapchat and Instagram and everything else. But you know what they use. And many of you, I know, as responsible parents, look to see what they're doing. And I know I got a few laughs from that because it's true, isn't it? But another thing that's on the back table for you as well, because we know that youth actually communicate differently too. They do a lot of texting. Imagine that, right? I'm not too sure what's going to happen to their thumbs in the future. But on the back, we have little cards. They're little crisis cards. There's some green ones. The bright green ones are in English, and the white ones that have green lettering on them are in Spanish. And these are crisis intervention services that you can just slip in your wallet, maybe tuck in your child's backpack. Some of these services are not just for you, but they're also definitely for them to reach out. They can call a hotline, nationwide hotlines, local hotlines, and they can also text for that as well. So again, different communication styles for a different generation. So back to HHS working closely, obviously, with law enforcement. We do also provide counselors and therapists as needed if we did have an incident, and we would be able to assist the schools in that way, and we've done so in the past. Usually it's been in reaction to a beloved coach that maybe, as we heard, has just passed away, or a suicide. If an incident does happen, I just want to point out a few more things for you. You guys should also monitor how much exposure your child or your youth is having to the media. Present company accepted, because we do have the media in the room. Remember what you felt like after 9/11. You watched it over and over and over again, and you really couldn't get away from it. And some of that causes more trauma, causes more anxiety, causes some depression. So please remember to watch what your children and youth are seeing if we have had an incident and how much exposure they have had. And if they're willing to talk, definitely have them talk, but make sure that they're not just kind of ruminating on it 24 hours a day. And as soon as you can, certainly reach out for help if you need to, but also just get involved in more normal activities when they're ready. Have them talk to somebody that they feel safe, and remind them of all the safe places that they encounter, and that this was a really unusual incident. I also would be remiss if I also didn't mention for you to seek assistance as you need to as well. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to your friends, to your pastor, to your hairdresser, to your gym buddy. You as parents also need support. And if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be available and ready to take care of your children. So please, some of the resources in the back are not just for youth, they're obviously for parents, for adults, and even if you're not a parent and you're just a concerned community member, and maybe you do not have school-age children anymore, you're still impacted as well. So again, please reach out for support as well. So in closing, I just wanted to say, we as a community together, all of us, and all of you, can do the very best that we can to prevent these type of tragedies. We're trying to do it through our prevention activities, intervention when we notice something, and then obviously when we have to do something about it, doing whatever we can do post the incident to take care of all of us and come back to as the safe and well community that we all love. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Rob and Dr. Twyla. Our next speakers are from the Placer County Sheriff's Office. We have Lieutenant Josh Barnhart, Commander of the Loomis Substation, and Sergeant Jason Davis, who is a Youth and Community Services Supervisor for Placer County. But before we get into their portion of the presentation, we're going to show you a video that was made by the Sheriff's Office in conjunction with Placer County Office of Education. Either Lieutenant Barnhart or Sergeant Davis, do you want to give us a little bit of background on that particular video before we show it?
The video, if this is working, the video was put together a couple, 3 years ago in conjunction with PCOE to kind of get the message out there about and educate about law enforcement response to a school shooting or an incident of violence. And so the video kind of outlines to school staff as well what to expect and what to prepare for when an incident occurs. Also, and you'll hear some of the things reiterated, that it starts with you, it starts with us in the community. And if you see something, say something and do something about it. One of the highlights of the video that you'll see is what you guys can do, what we all can do as parents, because like we've already stated, we all live in this community, we all have our children at schools in this community, so our temptation is to immediately respond as parents to the school, which can cause a lot of problems for the first responders, emergency medical personnel as well. So the video was really well done, produced by a school student, so enjoy.
Go ahead and play that video now. And again, this was produced by a school student.
911, do you have an emergency?
Yes, I just saw someone with a gun on campus.
Where are you calling from?
I'm at the high school. I'm in the library.
Your safety at school is our top priority. Unfortunately, violent acts such as school shootings are a real possibility. Hi, I'm Under Sheriff Devin Bell from the Placer County Sheriff's Office.
And I'm Gail Garbalina Mojica, Placer County Superintendent of Schools.
While the topic is unpleasant, these kinds of events do take place. It's important that you know what's expected of you during a critical incident and what you can expect from the Placer County Sheriff's Office. Though the situations presented in the next few minutes may be troubling, your preparedness is essential to school safety.
You should know that the Placer County Sheriff's Office is very serious about the safety of our students and staff and all who enter onto our school grounds.
Although violent acts are rare, not all can be prevented.
On behalf of the Placer County Office of Education, I would like to thank each of you for taking an active role in the protection of our students. The goal of this video is not to frighten, but to educate as to what you may experience during a critical incident and how to respond.
Hi, I'm Mike Lamb, community member, school safety advocate, and father to a local high school student. While watching this video, it's important to keep in mind courage and determination are the key to safety for yourself and your students. Be confident and know that law enforcement is on the way. All right, let's get started.
Examinations of past school shootings have shown that a prepared staff significantly enhances the school's ability to react to these kinds of attacks. Likewise, first responders are well trained and equipped to stop the threat as quickly as possible. Remember, act with courage and determination.
There are two main responses to school threats: a shelter-in-place and a lockdown. A shelter-in-place will be announced when the school is exposed to a possible threat. The principal and his or her designee will announce that the building is being placed into a shelter-in-place.
Attention, students and staff.
Attention, students and staff. We are going into a shelter-in-place.
Again, we are going into a shelter-in-place.
When you hear the shelter-in-place announcement, look outside your classroom and bring any nearby students inside. Close and lock your door. Account for and settle down your students, then proceed with teaching as normal. Do not allow anyone to leave the room until the shelter-in-place is lifted or other instructions are given by staff or law enforcement. Refer to your school safety plan in shelter-in-place events as outlined in your school's policy.
In most cases, shelter-in-place situations are brief. However, you should be prepared to remain in your classroom for an extended period of time. The purpose is to maintain control and ensure classroom security.
Do you have an emergency?
Yes, I just saw someone with a gun on campus.
Where are you calling from?
I'm at the high school. I'm in the library.
And where did you see this person?
It's lunchtime right now, and I think he just walked into the cafeteria.
Can you still see him?
No, he went to the hallway, and I ran over here to call you.
Okay, can you describe him for me?
He's wearing like a black hoodie and has a gray backpack. I think I saw the barrel of the gun sticking out from his coat, so I couldn't see his face, but he might be a student. Could you please hurry?
We already have deputies responding to your location.
12 call. And any units in the vicinity reported an 1114 subject, possibly armed with a gun at the high school.
12 call copies en route code 3 from SPS.
12 union copies en route code 3 from Taylor and Penryn.
Will be a male subject in a black hoodie, carrying a gray backpack, possibly a gun sticking out of his coat.
12 call copy.
12 union copies.
12 Frank en route code 3 from Auburn Folsom and Cabot Stallman. For the RP, he was seen entering the cafeteria.
12 call copy.
12 union copy.
A lockdown is called when there is an immediate threat to the campus, such as a school shooter. These types of events occur rapidly, so it's crucial that you're familiar with how to respond and do so with courage and determination. Again, the principal or his or her designee will announce that the school is being placed into a lockdown.
Attention, students and staff. Attention, students and staff.
We are going into a lockdown. Again, we are going into a lockdown.
Look outside your classroom and bring any nearby students into your room. Close and lock the door. Make the room appear as if it is unoccupied. Turn off the lights and close any blinds, and settle down your students. Tell them to be completely silent and stay out of sight. Make sure all cell phones are turned off, and tell students do not send out or respond to text messages. Everyone in the room should make sure that danger isn't drawn to their location. Again, refer to your school's safety plan to determine what communication method is used during a lockdown. Always execute safety plans in strict accordance with your district's policy. Most importantly, ask questions how to better prepare yourself for future events.
Making the room appear unoccupied can deter the shooter. If all the rooms appear unoccupied, it may force the shooter into an unanticipated decision-making mode. This provides time, valuable time for first responders to get to the shooter's location and stop them from committing further violent acts.
Employing cover techniques is recommended. Have students seek cover behind walls, heavy desk, furniture, or other sturdy objects to enhance their safety.
Cover provides shielding, whereas concealment may not. You want to make it as difficult as possible for a shooter to harm you and your students. Leaving the room or opening it to allow someone in could escalate a very dangerous situation by causing a breach to an otherwise secure location. Should the shooter enter your room, you must be courageous and determined to defend yourself and the lives of your students.
During a lockdown, it's critical that no one enters or leaves the room for any reason until the lockdown is lifted. Stay in the lockdown until a staff member or law enforcement official releases you in person. The first responders' primary objective is to seek out the shooter and stop the threat. They are not there to tend to the injured or assist with evacuation. Take comfort in knowing that other first responders are being assembled and dispatched to assist with medical treatment and evacuation.
When encountered by law enforcement, keep your hands empty and visible and follow the deputy's directions. Remember, do exactly what you're told to do by deputies and strictly adhere to your school safety plan. That will go a long way in helping a dangerous situation begin to stabilize.
You and your staff are critical to the execution of your school safety plan. Emergency responders are coming, but by virtue of already being on school grounds, you are the first responders.
Even though the chances of an active shooter entering one of your schools is remote, it is critical that staff know what to do should this occur. Your courage and determination is absolutely critical when it comes to the safety of everyone involved.
We have immense confidence in you. You work in an incredibly safe environment. Many would say you're safer here in school than you are in your own home.
You can do this, and you will make a difference.
We'll go ahead and turn it back over to Lieutenant Barnhart and Jason Davis. Oh, and also, by the way, I probably should give a plug to former Undersheriff Devin Bell, who is now the Sheriff of Placer County.
So, as Sheriff Devin Bell would want to share with you guys, one of the things that we have never compromised on is our training. And just recently, he spoke to open up our training session, which is a 4-month period of time where we conduct intense advanced officer training. So what he spoke about is back in 2008 when the budget crisis hit, one thing that we didn't cut and compromise on was our training. And I just want to let you guys know that we take it very seriously, and we train very hard every year for these types of responses. And obviously the controversy in Florida was the response or lack thereof of the school resource officer on scene of the school. And I want to reassure you guys that our training when it comes to these school shootings really changed after Columbine. And we train our deputies, school resource officers, especially, that if they are on campus alone, before anybody else is able to respond, they are going to the threat. And even if they are alone and have to address the threat by themselves, that is what they're going to do. Because again, we are not just invested in our community, but we are you guys. Our kids are in school together with you, and we would want the same thing. So, prevention. I'll let Sergeant Jason Davis go into some of the details. He oversees our Youth and Community Services Unit, and so he oversees the school resource officers, but prevention starts with our training. it continues with our school resource officers being plugged in and engaged with the campus, with the school administration, teachers, and students. And it was interesting, one of the deputies on the video, Mike Bennett, who passed away, he was really heavily involved in Del Oro High School, and just the impact that these school resource officers have, not just in school safety, but in the lives of the kids individually, is awesome. So in prevention and preparedness, we are heavily involved in taking every threat seriously. And so we will do threat assessments if someone does come forward and say something or see something on social media that is an outright threat or even suspicious. We'll investigate that thoroughly. We'll also work closely with mental health and getting that person or that student the help that they need. So our response to schools is pretty much out there, and everybody knows what's going to happen after the fact. And our guys are trained to bypass everything that normally they would deal with. If people are injured, if a student is asking for help, they are going to bypass all of that to go straight to the threat, to address the threat and neutralize the threat as quickly as possible. So I'd like to turn it over to Sergeant Jason Davis. He's going to talk a little bit about the details of what the school resource officers are dealing with in your community right now.
Thank you. I joined this unit 2 months ago and didn't think I'd be sitting here before you talking about this, but active shooters were very heavy on my heart when I took over this unit. It's a big fear I have, I'm not going to lie to you. And being responsible for your students and your kids is something I take very seriously, and we at the Sheriff's Office take very seriously. You know, we can go into, talking points, but I would like to talk to you about facts. And the fact of the matter is, we have 9 deputies, 2 CSOs assigned to the Community Services Division. 9 of those work directly with your kids in the schools. If you put that in perspective, there's 11 beat officers in the entire county for our staffing levels. So we have as many deputies, or nearly as many deputies, directly devoted to the kids in our school as we do on the streets of the entire county. One of the things that I thought was extremely important coming into the unit and got the support of our administration is information sharing. We share information on patrol. We get constant bulletins of dangerous people from East Coast, Missouri. We read them in briefing all the time, but we didn't share information within our own schools. And so through we do what we do at the end of every patrol shift, we send out an end of watch. We have now started doing that in our Community Services Division. It's important, our school resource officers, they have you have one in Colfax, you have one all the way down to Granite Bay, and every space in between, and these school resource officers don't see each other. They go report to their schools, and they go home. And there's a lot of information that is missed if we're not sharing that information. So it's vital. Obviously, information is the most important thing, and if we do have a threat situation, we do what we call a threat assessment, and we start looking into the child's background, and can we get them the resources they need? Do they have mental health issues? We'll refer them to Health and Human Services, and prevention is 10/10 of it if we can catch it beforehand. So that is our number one objective in doing our end of watches and sharing that information. As Lieutenant Barnhart alluded to, training, I'll go into it because it's extremely important to our entire organization. One of our core values is we will achieve professionalism through continuous training, education, and commitment to our duties. We are committed to your students and your kids without question, and that training is a huge, huge part of it. Without training, honestly, you don't respond to the situations we respond to, you freeze. And so when we do these trainings, we make them as realistic as possible, and and work through it, and it prepares us for the real situation. We've incorporated joint training with fire now. For years, like Columbine, the patrol deputies would stand by, wait for SWAT. SWAT would go in, do their thing. Well, when kids are getting actively killed or shot or injured, we need to do something. You guys pay us to put our lives on the line, and it's something when we take this badge and this uniform and put it on every day, it's something we have to accept that we need to do. And so with that, we have now incorporated fire into our training, where they will go into a hot zone or a dangerous situation, which they typically don't do. They will not respond until the situation is completely stabilized. But now they are responding in with a tactical team and providing care for students that are injured, kids that are injured, because that is what we do. Equipment is huge. Our organization invests in a lot of equipment. Yeah, it's expensive, but when you need it, and it's there, and it helps you deal with the situation. And I'll kind of leave you on this one little note. You know, as I talked about, you know, it's one thing to talk about things, but I've seen our organization in the most dire of circumstances. It wasn't an active shooter by the definition, but was every bit as dangerous. And a few years ago, we had that guy that was had shot and killed a Sac County deputy, and traveled up into our county, and we responded. And the deputies that responded were putting themselves in danger. They knew this guy had killed a cop. They knew he'd shot several other people, and he needed to be stopped for the safety of our community. Don't want to get into too many details, but the bottom line is my brother was shot and killed that day for our community. I'm so proud and honored by him willing to put his life on the line for you guys, because you guys are worthy of it. I guarantee you, I can tell you that based on that incident and other incidents since, that we will respond. Your kids are a priority, our community is a priority, and it is our job to protect you and to respond to those situations, and we will inject in those situations to keep your children safe. Thank you for this time, and I appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you, Lieutenant Barnhart, and special thanks to you, Sergeant Davis. For those of you that don't know, Sergeant Davis lost both his father and his brother in the line of duty. Our next speakers are from the Roseville Police Department. We have Captain Mark Glenn, who oversees the Services Division, Bridget Dean, the Social Services Unit Administrator, and Carlos Cortez, one of the school resource officers.
There, it's on, yes? Good evening, everybody. My name is Bridget Dean, and I am the Social Services Administrator at Roseville Police Department, and I oversee our Social Services Unit. I am also proud to say I'm a former administrator, school counselor, and school social worker here in Roseville. So our unit consists of a POP team that serves the city, as well as our youth service officers. We have 3 officers in our unit right now, and they are on campuses in Roseville Joint Union, and we also have officers doing daily shifts covering Adelante High School. Our goal at Roseville PD and with the Social Services Unit is to connect individuals and families to services as needed, and to continue to work with our community to build strong relationships. I want to point out that a couple things before I hand this over, because I know a lot of you have questions, and we'd like to hear them actually at some point, yeah? That you're really lucky here in Placer County. You have an extremely collaborative group of agencies that work very closely together. Our schools, our law enforcement, our health and human service agencies, we all actually communicate on a regular basis, work together. We have multidisciplinary teams that serve your families and your children, and we all take school safety very seriously. So with that, I'm actually going to turn this over to Officer Cortez to talk a little bit about youth service officers.
Good evening. My name's Carlos Cortez. I'm assigned currently at Oakmont High School. Previous to that, I was on patrol, and then before that, I worked at Roseville High School. So I've had a lot of years working with the schools in the school district and the staff and the students. And I take a lot of pride in working with that unit because I enjoy working with the kids. As many of you've heard, I think our biggest connection with our students is contact with them and being able to work with them so they can come forward when we have situations like that. Our department is, as our chief has mentioned in the past, is our future is our students, is our juveniles in the city. And without them, we can't make this city grow and also make the county grow. So that's why we're here. We're here to do the best we can for them, to support them, and then to support the parents as well. Thank you.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Glenn. I'm a captain for the Roseville Police Department, and I oversee our services division. The thing that always makes me feel fortunate to work in Roseville is stuff like this tonight, when you see the community come together on a very concerning issue that I think you've heard from every panel member up here, we take very seriously. Lieutenant Barnhart and Sergeant Davis summarized very well the type of training that your law enforcement agencies do. So I'm not going to reiterate everything that they said because it's how we train as well. But an example I'd like to give with you, to share with you tonight, is when any type of a suspicious circumstance comes in, we are all over it with tremendous amount of resources. And for example, Snapchat is one of my biggest fears in life right now because the video goes away or the photo goes away. But kids are getting hip to it, if that would be the term nowadays. And there have been times over the last couple months where threats were made and we've had an officer at the subject's house or wherever the subject is within an hour ready to talk about the situation and to share with the parents how serious we take this type of situation today. I think what's very important is that you're real with your children. This is not fairy tale world. We live in a reality right now where there's very evil people in the world, and you need to let your children know that, and you also need to let them know that your law enforcement officers are going to be coming hot and heavy to help them. And that's what we're here for. And, you know, with our 3 full-time youth service officers right now, we have over 55 years of law enforcement experience in those schools. And then we rotate officers into Adelante High School as well. So we're here for you. I look forward to your questions tonight. I'm honored to be here. And we thank you very much for caring about your community.
Thank you very much, Captain and Bridget, as well as Officer Carlos Cortez. We're now going to, actually we have one more. We have a speaker from the Roseville Joint Union High School District. We have Brad Basham, the Executive Director for Personnel Services. Great.
Good evening. My name is Brad Basham. I'm the Executive Director of Personnel for the Roseville Joint Union High School District. I grew up in Roseville. I've been in this community pretty much all my life. I've been in the district for 29 years now as a teacher, as an administrator, as a school principal. And this is one of those topics that, as a principal, it's probably your greatest fear. You don't want anything to happen to those kids, to your kids. As a principal, we love your kids like you love your kids, and we want them to be safe. And I'm sure that every single one of the superintendents and the other principals and administrators in the room feel that same way. We take our responsibility very seriously, and we do everything that we can to make our schools safe. And we're always learning. We're lifelong learners. So every time an event happens, we are always looking at it, self-reflecting. What can we do to improve so that we can get better the next time? So my role this evening is to just talk about some of the things that we've put in place in the high school district to increase safety on our campuses. And I encourage you, if your son or daughter is not a student in our district at this time, you're from one of our partner districts or a nearby district, that you go and you speak to the principals of your child's school to learn more about the safety protocols that they have in place, to share any concerns that you may have or any suggestions that you may have. But a lot of the schools, a lot of the districts will follow some of the same protocols that we do. So I'm going to give you a little insight. So we have 8 schools in our district when you include the alternative sites as well as the comprehensive high school sites. We have 1,000 staff members. We have over 10,000 students. It's a big responsibility. So although there's never a complete 100% guarantee, we're going to do everything that we can to reduce any kind of chance of an active threat on our campus, as well as be prepared and to react appropriately. We want to make sure our students and our teachers know exactly what to do. So each of our sites has a crisis response team, and that crisis response team meets regularly, usually monthly, and they review safety concerns, they plan and run safety drills, provide training to the staff, and they develop that comprehensive safety plan that is reviewed by district staff, reviewed by law enforcement, approved by our school board, and then sent up to the county for certification. Our comprehensive high schools, in addition to 5 administrators, they have campus monitors who act as security as well. So 2 to 3 campus monitors. They're patrolling the campus, watching the perimeter, making sure that we don't have people on campus that are not supposed to be there, as well as supervising students during the transition periods and at lunchtime. We also, as you've heard, have an incredible relationship with Sac County Sheriff's Antelope High School, and then Roseville Police Department for our Roseville City Schools, and Placer County Sheriff Department for Granite Bay High School. We have incredible school resource officers that are armed, highly trained, and not only that, they engage with our kids. They go out, they talk to them, they are approachable, and they're trying to bridge that gap so students feel comfortable coming to them. We have, with our facilities, we talk about some of the things we talked about earlier about deep rep. We're looking at our vulnerabilities. So we had a company come in with the help of Placer County and safety grant money to look at where we may be vulnerable. And because of that, we've put more money into fencing. We have fencing around the perimeters of our schools and gates. The whole idea is to deter people from coming on, as well as to direct them towards the front office if they're checked in and we know who's on campus. We're also putting surveillance cameras in all of our systems in all of our schools. Currently, Antelope High School, Roseville, and Oakmont High School. Oakmont High Schools have their cameras in place, or we hope to have all the cameras in place in all of our campuses before the beginning of next school year. We're also, how many people here are from West Park? Raise your hand. Okay, so we've been monitoring some of the chatter that's out there and some of the concerns that may be out there with this new innovative high school that has a lot of transparency. There's a lot of glass, and just what does that mean in terms of school safety? So we're aware of that. We have a great opportunity when we're at this stage to work with our architects to make sure that we're including safety measures. So in addition to the fencing and the cameras and the school resource officer, we're going to have the opportunity to do a couple of other cool safety things. One of those is we're going to be using fobs rather than keys, and in our wings that have the interior spaces that are common areas that would go up to the second story in those buildings, there's only 2 entrances into those buildings. And with the touch of a button, we're able to lock all of the doors instantly. So that's what we're working on so that we can lock down a facility. We know that there's some concern about having classrooms that have so much glass and you have that kind of transparency. We're learning more about what we may be able to do, and one of those things is the possibility of using a glass that has an electronic current that if you go into a lockdown, you can take that transparent glass and turn it opaque. And so you can make sure that nobody can look into those classrooms. So first line of defense is to keep them off your campus altogether. The second one is to be able to instantly lock down those classrooms, and then also be able to make sure that those classrooms are dark and that nobody can see into them. So I just wanted to give you a little bit in terms of the facilities and know that we're looking at how to best make that 6th high school, West Park High School, home of the Cougars, a safe place for your students. Also want to did I mess that one up? It's the Panthers.
Panthers.
I voted for Cougars, it was the Panthers. So I apologize. Also want to talk about communication. One of the new systems that we've put in place is called Catapult. It's an emergency response system. It allows any staff member to report suspicious activity using their mobile device, using their computer. It allows the site safety team to escalate to a lockdown with the touch of a button. It allows for two-way communication into the classroom, so we can have the incident command center up there with our first responders, and we can be talking to teachers in their classroom. It allows them to account for their students, to take roll, so that we know which students are safe and which ones may still be missing or unaccounted for. When a teacher logs in, because of the GPS system that works with Catapult, we know where our teachers are, and we know their status. So I think it's a great system to be able to use during that kind of incident in terms of improving communication. Many of you are aware of Blackboard. If you are a parent in the Roseville Joint Union High School District, you've received plenty of messages from me, but that's how we use for text messaging, phone calls, emails, and that's when we're going to alert you that we have an incident on campus, and then we give you those updates so that you know what's going on. And then we also have a link on all of our websites called Help Us Stay Safe. And it's a way that, it's part of the Catapult system actually, and it's a way for anyone to report anonymously any kind of threat, bullying, suspicious activity, and that goes to the site safety team so that they can investigate. So those are all some of the systems we have in place, but more importantly, what we have to look at is student wellness and being preventative. So we want to try to prevent this from happening on our campuses, and we want to be able to identify students who may need some extra help, maybe in crisis. So all of our sites, our comprehensive sites, have 6 counselors on campus. There's usually 1 or 2 school psychologists assigned to a school. We have a school nurse, we have social work interns, we have marriage and family therapist interns, and they're all trained to address the mental health as well as the social emotional needs of our students. We're also investigating a new concept called wellness centers, and so we're visiting schools throughout California that have put wellness centers in place. And wellness centers are more accessible for students. Instead of having to be referred, a student can self-report, a friend can report, a parent can refer. And it's a way for us to triage and assess student needs more efficiently and to increase their access to support. We also have these incredible partnerships with the community resources we have in Placer County, and our counselors know that they can refer students and families to the Placer County Children's System of Care if their needs go beyond what we can provide as a school site. And then we always can call, we know we can call Roseville PD, we know we can call Placer County Sheriff and Sac County Sheriff if we need them to do a wellness check or a threat assessment. And they take care of that, and they report back to us, and they let us know what's going on, and that helps us make decisions on how we're going to handle school that next day. We're also trying to build that culture of trust. And so on our sites, obviously, we have these robust programs, whether that's student activities, athletics. We want to keep our kids engaged. It's one of the greatest deterrents to violence, and when they're engaged in school, they buy into school. They want their school to be safe. They want their friends to be safe. So we set clear expectations for our students. We have 0 tolerance for weapons, and we follow through with the consequences. On the other side of that, though, you heard about PBIS, the Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports, and that's an opportunity for our teachers and our students to learn about good behavior and what those expectations are on campus, what it means to be a tiger, what it means to be a Viking or a timber wolf. Okay, that's what PBIS does. So we introduce, we model, we reinforce positive behavior, and we develop systems of support when a student needs extra help so that we can get them back on the right track. We're also exploring and learning more about restorative justice practices. So we want to marry restorative justice practices with PBIS. And with restorative justice practices, we want to teach our students and our staff the skills that they need to resolve and prevent conflict in a peaceful and positive in a respectful way. We want to solve problems before they become big problems. We want to get them when they're small. We also have programs in which we address, we have assemblies, we have peer helping programs, we address bullying, we address respect, being involved in school, school violence. We tackle all those tough subjects with them, and we try to educate them and give them avenues and give them a voice. But the most important piece is we try to build positive relationships with your children. We've had actually four, because we had one on Monday, gun-related incidents this year. I've been in the district, like I said, 29 years. I've never experienced anything like this. But every single one of those incidents, we became aware of it because students came forward, they saw something, and they said something. And because of that, we were quickly able to make sure that our students were safe, working with law enforcement, making sure that we can resolve those situations in a timely way, in a safe way, and it also reinforced that our safety procedures work. And so I'm very proud of our children. I'm grateful of the positive relationships that our staff have with our students. And I ask you to reinforce that message at home. If you see something, say something. And that's sometimes tough for teenagers because they have this culture of not wanting to snitch on a friend. But what I have found is when it comes to school safety, when it comes to the well-being of one of their friends, they are not afraid to come forward. They want to make sure that their schools are safe. In our last California Healthy Kids survey, I want you to know that regardless of all the stuff that's going on, your kids feel safe in our schools. 99% of them said that their school is safe. And a lot of that has to do with the messaging that we give them, the drilling that we participate in, and those relationships that they've had. And when we've had an incident, the way it's been handled and the outcome of it. So the most recent lockdown that we had at Granite Bay High School, and we had Placer County sheriffs going room to room, clearing a room. Those students thanked those officers, and they said that they felt safe, and they were appreciative of everything that the school had done to prepare them for that situation. And then I encourage you as parents, make sure your contact information is updated. Make sure that you tell your students to take those safety drills seriously, and that you reinforce the importance of saying something if they say something, and that more importantly, if you have any questions, you have any concerns, you have any suggestions, as a principal, I welcome those. Go to your child's school and voice that. Give them suggestions. Ask what their safety plan is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brad, for your comments. We're now going to transition into the question and answer portion of this forum. And I guess we'll just kind of go kind of like a potpourri kind of thing. I'll go ahead and read the question, and whoever wants to start answering it, if there's subsequent comments from anybody on the panel to the question, that's fair game. I'm going to invite our probation officer, Marshall Hopper, to come in and sit with us and answer some questions. Marshall has some very good insight with regards to the elementary and middle schools. Thank you, Marshall. First question. Once there is a confirmed threat at school, does the PO or any other responder do a weapons check at home? Lieutenant?
I can answer that. So the question was, do they check their weapon at home after an incident?
If there are any weapons at home?
Yes, they do. Yeah. Just so I understand the question correctly, checking for weapons at home themselves?
Checking, after there is a threat that's been identified, do you actually go home and check if they have weapons at home?
Correct, yeah. It depends on the situation, but we would do everything that we can to do that. We would run a records check and see if there are weapons registered to the home or to the individuals that live there, and we would certainly check on that, yes.
Great. Any other comments?
Yeah, and the individuals that are on probation normally have search and seizures, so we have a little bit of a different situation. So in that event, if they are on probation under our supervision, yes, we definitely will do a check of the residents.
Then we'd make sure that the weapons are secured at home, that they're not just left out in the open.
Thank you. This may be for the high school. As opposed to utilizing expensive methods for better concealment, why do we not look into laminates that can be placed on glass that render it bulletproof?
We are always looking at ways to improve, and there's always new technology out there. And oftentimes it's a matter of availability, price point, all those sorts of things, and we examine it, and is this going to work for us? I'm not familiar with that, and so when we meet with the county, we have a county meeting, and that's we learn about some of the new items that are out there. Some of my safety coordinators who are assistant principals at the different sites, they'll bring ideas forward. That's a great idea. I'm going to take a look and see what we may be able to do, because some of our classrooms, they have that door that has a window in that door. It might be an avenue. The new high school with all that glass, that might be an avenue. So I appreciate the suggestion.
As a follow-up question, they also would like to know, what are they doing about doors? Are there any improvements contemplated on lockable doors in schools?
Well, as Mr. Basham said, that our meeting at the County Office of Education that we hold on a regular basis, we do vet those products. We talk about new innovations in school safety. So as Mr. Basham said, I haven't heard of that either. We'll bring that one to the next meeting. Around doors, we want our teachers to keep their doors locked in their schools. But that's not always possible when you have kids moving in and out. So there are innovations with magnetic locks, and there are things called lock blocks where the teacher can use a very simple to install piece of rubber that keeps the door locked. They can wedge the door open, kids can come in. If there's an emergency, all they have to do is flip the block, and the door locks. They do not have to step out in the hallway. So those are the kind of things that we're always looking at to help improve all of the school districts in the county.
Our next question is, can you explain how you train for active shootings at schools? And I'm going to assume that we don't want to talk about tactics, but you just want to give an overview.
Right, as an overview, for example, we'll use Dry Creek School, elementary school as an example. It's shut down right now. Obviously there's a new facility, so we've used that to actually physically go there and train and practice our response, utilizing all of our resources, including our SWAT team, but actually putting our deputies through, and Roseville can speak to this as well, putting them through a scenario situation where they're exposed to the kind of stress that they might encounter in an actual situation. We use what we call simunitions. We convert our weapons, our guns, into simunitions where they may even experience getting shot with, and it hurts. It's a paintball type round, and I can tell you it hurts. And so that is to inoculate them to the stress so that they can experience that. And ahead of time, they know that they can have the confidence going into that situation, that real situation, that they've been there before in that type of stress environment.
Any other? Go ahead.
And just to piggyback off that, I know our Colfax resource officer is working on a MCI drill, which is a mass casualty incident drill, where it's a real life scenario where we're going to use actors that are, have makeup and the whole 9 yards, and fire is going to get involved, law enforcement, medevac. It's kind of like your every 15 minutes program, but for an active shooter type situation. Again, for that stress inoculation, for that real life training, that's our goal, is to get as real life as we can get.
Thank you. Our next question is, what proactive things are being done with high-risk students? What systems are in place to monitor them?
Is that me again?
Go right ahead.
Like we talked about earlier, the best detection system that we have in place is us. So when we receive a tip, someone has seen something on social media, we act on it immediately. So that is our best resource, is each other. What we do after that is based on the information that we have. So obviously if a student is posting pictures of guns and making even vague or veiled threats, then we act on that immediately.
At the school site, when we become aware of these sorts of threats, we have students that have some of these mental health issues that need to be addressed. We've poured a lot of money and resources the last few years in terms of supporting that side, the social emotional side. That's where we have our mental health interns on campus now, as well as our comprehensive counselors and our school nurses, so that we can identify those students and then put them in what you've heard referred to as a multi-tiered system of support. So what are those interventions that we can put in place? How do we regularly check in with that student? So are they getting some resources on campus? They're building relationships with adults on campus. But then we're also make sure that we refer to outside agencies or notify law enforcement if we have a concern that we don't think that we can handle, obviously. But we also work with the parents in terms of making sure they're getting help and support outside of school. If they can't afford or have access to therapy outside of school, we help connect them to community resources, or we try to provide what we can in-house with the marriage and family therapists, interns, our school counselors, et cetera.
And then additionally, at Roseville PD, we have a mental health threat assessment team. And so whenever we get one of those calls, or we get information from the school district or from anybody regarding somebody who might be posting something that is showing a high-risk behavior or otherwise, that we have a team that actually will do a threat assessment on that individual. And part of that is not only looking into and finding out what the risk is, but more importantly, making sure we reach out to the child and the family and get them connected to services. Because we know if we intervene early, then we can prevent a lot of the aftermath of that.
What kind of safety precautions are being made at the elementary school level?
Well, each California state law and education code requires that every school with every school district with 2,500 kids or less has a comprehensive safe school plan. And every school district that has 2,500 or more kids has a site plan for each one of their schools. So all the schools in Placer County have comprehensive safe school plans. That is the public plan that everybody can see. They also work on emergency procedures manuals that provide those tactical details of how we evacuate, how we lock down, and how we reunite you with your children. Those details that we don't want to put out in the public. What I can tell you about the elementary schools is they have the same plans that the high schools in the counties have.
Great. What is the thought process for arming teachers?
So I'll share a view on that. That could be very concerning to law enforcement, and it could add to confusion. We're trained to enter a school, move very swiftly, and stop the threat. And if you can imagine a teacher jumping out and us having to decipher right away if this is an intruder or is this a good person, that could slow our response to accomplish our mission in that situation. So there's concerns with that.
And I just want to add, as a former administrator, I think it's really important to acknowledge the hard work and effort our teachers put into your kids every day. Your administrators, your teachers, and they are there to provide a learning environment for your children, and I think it's really important that we support them in their goals in the classroom. And you have law enforcement agencies in Placer County and the city of Roseville that are very supportive of your schools, that are well trained, and I think that we need to be focusing on what each of our missions are exactly and what we're trained in.
Our next question, what is the expected response time to a school during an active shooter situation?
Response times vary, but I can tell you during the day when our kids are in school, there are a lot of resources around. And so not only patrol officers, deputies, school resource officers, but we have detectives working. We have multiple agencies in our area that are all working during the day, and I can speak from experience that sometimes the response can be overwhelming. So as far as response times, it's based on the proximity of the first responders at the time, but most of the time during the day it's very fast.
And if I could just add to that, the probation department's in a unique position. It's kind of a coincidence that I sat in the middle of the table because I have somebody assigned to every one of these agencies up here talking about collaboration. But probation, we run the juvenile detention facility and we handle all of the juvenile citations that come through the county, from skateboarding to serious felonies. They all come through our department and we make detention decisions. But in our juvenile unit, we are actively out in the schools. So when he talks about other agencies being around, in 2017, our probation officers made almost 1,500 school contacts. So at any given day, we are at a school. It may not be the same one, but we are at schools from elementary schools all the way up to high schools. So, and all of our officers are armed and equipped and trained as well. We also train with these agencies too. So another resource that's out there to help.
And just so everyone's aware, Marshall did bring several members of his team that are specific to youth and elementary school level folks, so they're sitting in the second row here. If any parents, after we conclude questions, would like to ask some questions, please feel free to do so.
Hey, Mr. Duran?
Yes.
In the incidents we've had in the high school district, the response time has been incredible. It has been fast, and it has been in mass numbers. The number of patrol cars, the number of officers, we've had canine, we've had helicopters. The response has been incredible. I cannot tell you how lucky we are to be working with Placer County Sheriffs, Roseville City Police, and in Antelope with the Sac County Sheriff's Department. They take the safety of our schools very seriously. They get a call of a threat, they are there quickly.
Thank you, Brad. Are students who make shooting threats allowed to return to school? Are students who make shooting threats allowed to return to school?
Well, we have to follow education code and give students their due process. So it's not black and white. It's not a black and white thing. We have to look at each individual student and each individual case. So when we have a serious, credible threat, yes, those students are recommended, they're given suspension and they're recommended for expulsion, and we follow through with that. There are going to be times in which there may be some other aspect. Maybe a student has special needs, for example, and it makes it more difficult, or maybe it's not a credible threat and we need to get them the other help that they need. But every incident in which we've had a student who has made a serious threat against the school, or the incidents in which we've had the student brandish an imitation firearm or have an actual firearm on campus, those students have all been recommended for expulsion, and we've moved forward with that. We don't want to bring those students back until they've gotten the help that they need and they've gone through the due process. They've met the rehabilitation plan. They've done everything that probation and the courts have asked them to do. But until we are 100% guaranteed that they're going to be safe, we follow through with the expulsion, and we refer them to the Placer County Community Day School after they're expelled.
Okay. Please discuss the procedure parents should follow when it's okay to pick up students from school?
I think I might as well just leave my microphone on. So if there is a lockdown or shelter in place, we don't want you coming to school. And this is not to be rude, but you get in the way. We need to solve the issue. We want to make sure your kids are safe. We want to make sure that our work with first responders, that they're helping us with the situation rather than out there directing traffic. So we want you to stay away, and we're going to do our best to communicate with you to let you know what's going on. And then we'll let you know when it's okay to come check your child out of school. And we've had that happen where we've had an incident in the morning, we've lifted a lockdown, we've gone back into our regular schedule, but because of just the emotions surrounding that, we've had parents come and pull their student out of school. And that's okay. You have the right to excuse your child and to take them home and have those conversations with them. But when we're in a lockdown or a shelter in place, we ask that you don't come. And we'll communicate that to you. And if we have to do some kind of reuniting with our parents, we'll tell you where to go and what to bring, and we'll walk you through that process.
Just a quick little thing on that from the law enforcement perspective. It was mentioned a little earlier about how important ingress and egress are in an emergency situation. And one of the hardest things for a law enforcement organization to do is to try to battle through if parents are in the way. Trust us to do our job in that situation. And we will work as quickly and as smartly as we can to reunite you with your children. But you have to believe us that people flooding a hot zone, as we refer to it, does nothing but trip us up. So just please try to adhere to that.
You've talked about procedures tonight that appear from a classroom perspective when class is in session. But do those procedures change during assemblies or lunchtime?
That's probably one of our worst case scenarios when you have lunchtime and you have half your student body out. But we've experienced that. We experienced that this year with Oakmont High School. And when we go into lockdown, students are told you go into the first available classroom, cafeteria, gymnasium, wherever you can be locked down. And then what we have to do is try to account for those students in those particular classrooms. And we know where those hot zones would be, where we have to get help to. So with that catapult system, we can have that communication with our staff members, and they can communicate with us, hey, I've got 200 students in the gymnasium. And if we're working with the police department and they're doing a search, then that might be one of the areas that they decide that they're going to go to first. Or if we have a student who has a medical need of some kind and that teacher is able to communicate that, we can communicate that to first responders. But if we are in a passing period, lunch period, and assembly, those are the most trying and most vulnerable times for us. We understand that. And one of the things that we teach our kids is run, hide, fight. So if you can get away, get away. If you can't, hide, get in that lockdown position, and last resort is to fight. Normal lockdown, you go into your classroom. In lunchtime, you go to the nearest place that you can to be locked down. And assembly, that's probably the scariest piece. If we can lock that gymnasium down, that's the best that we can do at that point, and try to keep the kids safe and quiet, and wait for the assistance of law enforcement.
Next question. How long does a typical active shooter event last?
As you have probably seen in the media, it's very fast, and it depends on the event, but it's usually very, very quick. And as that's why, again, that we teach our guys and gals to respond immediately to any threat or any shooting that occurs.
Thank you. What if the shooter is a student themselves and knows the policies and procedures in an event? Is there any additional risk?
I would say yes, there is additional risk because they do know the layout of your campus. They know your practices, your policies. But that doesn't change what we do in terms of either trying to lock down and not give that student access to other parts of the campus. That's the importance of making sure that you lock your doors and that you turn out the lights and that you cover your windows and do those things. What we learned also in Florida is the idea of the fire alarm. And when that fire alarm goes off, and kids are so used to evacuating, and someone that knows that. So we're reevaluating that right now. What do we do when we hear the fire alarm? And the issue is the alarm is very loud. It's meant to drive you out of a classroom. And at the same time, we don't want to be sending people into harm's way. And I don't know, in history, has anyone died of a school fire? Not that in my knowledge. So what we're leaning towards at this point, what we're telling our staff now is the teacher should be the first one to the door if there's a fire alarm, to check to see if it's safe outside before evacuating. We also have a panel that tells us exactly where that alarm was triggered, and that we try to get someone there as quickly as possible to verify. Yes, there's a fire. We need to evacuate this area of school. No, there's nothing there. It's a dirty filter that set it off, or someone in the culinary class or the science class, caused smoke, and that's what the cause of it is. We can silence that alarm and keep kids in class so that we're not sending them out into harm's way.
There's a feeling that a lot of what's happening right now and what has happened over the last 30 days in our jurisdiction is that it's a result of copycats activity, similar to when I was in school where people would pull the fire drill, fire alarm and get a kick out of that. And supposedly they cycle for 1 to 2 months. How often do you drill the students?
For a long time, we held drills twice a year, once each semester. And then we went to a quarterly drill. After the recent events and what we've experienced this year, we're asking our sites to run monthly drills. So it could be a lockdown, it could be a shelter in place, it could be an evacuation, or it could be a silent drill using that catapult system that I alluded to, where teachers are checking in and accounting for the students in their classroom so they get familiar with the system. So we're trying to drill more often, and we're trying to drill at different times. So during a class period, during a transition period, during lunchtime.
Other than school fencing, what options are schools looking at to assist in classroom lockdown?
James alluded to some of those, and that would be the ability to keep your door locked and then quickly latch it. So whether that's a magnetic strip in the door jamb, whether that's the blocker, the door block, those are the types of things that we use. We're encouraging our teachers to keep their classrooms locked and then use those systems if they need students to be able to come in and out. And then, like I said, with the 6th high school, we're learning about new technology that's out there, and maybe we'll be able to bring that to the other campuses as well.
Also, it was mentioned earlier that the officers talked about the duration of an active shooter event and how quick they can be. What actually can take some time is that time that kids are locked down in their classrooms. And almost, I think, to a school across the county, districts are putting in safety kits in their school that actually are meant to be locked in your classroom for some time. So we've built safety kits that actually contain first aid. They contain food and water. That food is for that child that actually needs to have some calories because of blood sugar issues. So those are the kind of things that are being planned for in those safety kits. An emergency radio that you can crank and hear the report. Space-age blankets, all kinds of stuff are packed into these little kits, and they could actually be contained in there for a good 24 to 48 hours if they had to. I've never heard of that. It's usually 4 hours, but they're ready for it. So.
Will there be an increased security presence at high school campuses that have experienced lockdowns?
Our past experience has been that whenever we have one of these types of incidents, that both law enforcement, probation, have all made sure that they come onto campus the following days and are a presence on our campus. This most recent event, I went over to Adelante High School the next morning, and we had 2 probation officers there. We had 2 police officers there. We had patrols coming by to all of our campuses. And so whenever there is that threat that's out there, they have always made sure that we have the resources that we need, as well as making sure that our own staff is on high alert. So our SRO is there, our campus monitors, our administrators, our teachers are all aware of the situation and can stay on high alert.
In Florida, they had a lot of policies and procedures, and there were many red flags. What are we doing different here in Placer County?
You know, some of the red flags was the amount of contact he had with law enforcement. I think there was 39 calls to his residence. The FBI was involved. Police were involved. I don't know all the specifics and why, you know, what the nature of those calls were. And, you know, we go to calls and you deal with the call at the time. And one of the things that I've preached to my guys now and I've stressed to patrol is if you encounter a family situation or especially involving a juvenile, please let the Community Services Division know so that we can contact and follow up. For example, there was a kid that was extremely depressed, and the SRO picked up on it and ended up talking to the kid, and his parents had been arrested for domestic violence. I think his father had been arrested for domestic violence, but we weren't sharing that information. And I think that's important that we share information when there's a traumatic incident in a child's life, such as a parent being arrested, that we share that information so that we can deal with it. And then again, if there's ongoing problems with the child, that we get the help that we can, and we take every situation extremely seriously, not just in these times, but 6 months from now when there hasn't been any school shootings and everybody goes back to being complacent. That's one thing we preach in law enforcement is absolutely do not accept complacency. We have signs all over our building in the Below 100 program, which is a program designed to get less than 100 officers killed in the line of duty in a given year, which we haven't done yet. But at the bottom of it, it says complacency kills. And so we can't be complacent at any given time. This will pass, and then we'll go back to life as normal, and that's when we need to be on high alert. I think after these critical incidents, very rarely are they followed up with another critical incident. There's all this high alert, and then we go back to complacency, and then something happens. So it's important that we stay vigilant and that we investigate every situation every time.
Thank you. How are the situation and the drills being explained to the K through 8 schools?
Well, I don't work in an elementary school. I do work with district superintendents that do superintend those schools. It is different. I mean, some of the terminology gets tough because the county office, we use lockdown, lockout, evacuate, and we keep shelter in place for hazmat situations. But how do you explain to a second grader the difference between lockdown and lockout? It's really tough for them to understand something like that. But what the teachers are good at is understanding it themselves and relaying it to the kids what they need to do. It almost doesn't matter. We're going to lock the door, we're going to pull the shades, and we're going to be safe in here. So that's what we work with those district superintendents on.
Next question is, what are the standards for security on campuses? And how do we understand, or how are those policies adopted?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to address the question in terms of intent. So if there's a follow-up, they can come find me. But what we try to do is to make sure that we are channeling our visitors through that front door, that they're being checked in, that they have a visitor badge. We're putting in systems in place in which we can scan visitors' IDs, and that gives us information. For example, if that visitor happens to be a sex offender, we would have that information. It would pop up. We want to make sure that our campuses are locked up. So at the beginning of school, our campus monitors, our SRO, our administrators are out and about, making sure students are getting in safely. They lock those gates, and once again, channeling everybody towards the front. And we ask that our campus monitors patrol. We ask that our teachers make themselves visible during the passing periods, and our administrators are out and about, especially during passing periods, lunchtime, et cetera. So it's visibility more than anything, and then having eyes open and our ears to the ground, and if something is suspicious, that we report it, and we make sure that we have that communication with each other through our radios, as well as our communication through our SRO with local law enforcement if needed.
Thank you. Hypothetically, who monitors whether or not the teachers are doing the drills properly when the drills are carried out?
That's the site administrator's responsibility and the site safety team. And that's where Catapult has helped, because teachers are supposed to log in, they're supposed to take roll, and so we can follow up if that wasn't done correctly. When we have a lockdown, oftentimes what happened, like today, I know they had one at Roseville High School, and they went around and they checked all the doors. They listened to see if the students were being quiet inside. And so when we run those drills, we monitor that to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And when we get information, whether that's through a parent, a student, another staff member, because the staff members want they want their colleagues to take it seriously as well. If we get that information, then it's up to the site administrator to address that with the teacher, to make sure that they understand how important this is, to reinforce that with them.
And this is just a comment. What about a GoFundMe account for not only individual schools, but for Placer County safety also? Are there plans for 2 officers on high school campuses?
As far as the sheriff's office is concerned, not at this time, not 2 officers. And the reason for that obviously is staffing and budget. But like I said before, during the day when school is in session, there's a huge amount of resources out there outside of the campus that are ready to respond quickly. So no plans to have 2. But
what can we do as the public to change the laws for those troubled children that are a threat? What can we do as parents to address that more thoroughly?
As parents, obviously, law enforcement isn't involved in making laws. It's up to the people. And so if you're wanting to change legislation and some of the laws in California, obviously you're going to be contacting our legislators in Sacramento for that. But it's encouraged for all of us to take that step as parents, as citizens.
And this kind of follows that same thought process. Is there any pursuit of changing the laws to give school administrators more power to deal with violent or mental health issues at school?
There's none that I'm aware of, but I wouldn't be surprised if the legislators are looking into what kinds of laws might need to be changed or updated to help schools to make them stay safe.
Thank you. What can students do to proactively prevent school violence? And just to comment, most of the incidents that occurred were student reported, correct?
Yeah, that's the number one thing, is that students need to come forward because they see this before we do, whether that is on social media, it's in their group chats, it's from their friends. They hear about it before we do. And they need to come forward, whether that's to you as the parent or to a trusted adult on campus, so that we can investigate it. It may turn out to be nothing, but it may turn out to be something very serious, as was, you know, this most recent incident that we had Monday of this week. It was the friends of this particular student who came forward, who were worried about him, and that's what helped us head off potentially a very serious incident.
So one of the things that one of the things that from a mental health perspective, you know this as well as anyone else, is that your youth, especially your teens, granted they seem to have turned into a different species at that particular time, we know that, but they listen to each other. They know that you are their parents, but really their peer group is pretty important to them. So some of the things that they can do is to watch out for each other and also talk to each other. And if they notice things, they may not tell you, but be sure they're going to tell their BFF or someone else. They're going to be texting it to someone else, or someone in their peer group is going to notice. So what you can help your children do is remind them that it's okay at certain times to worry about their friends, and to let an adult know, a school officer, one of the law enforcement, yourself, someone, a trusted teacher, that something is a little off with one of their friends. And so they do have a lot of power in this. So please be assured and talk to your children about that as well.
What measures will or can be taken to ensure that no one can enter a school campus with any type of firearm?
I'm not sure we can say anytime. You know, there's no guarantees. All we can do is try to make sure that we're doing the best we can to reduce any chance of that happening. And it's through those things that I talked about. It's to make sure that your perimeter is safe. It's to make sure that you're channeling people to one point for entrance, so we know who's on our campus. It's making sure that the lines of communication are open, so that if someone sees something, they say something. If someone's aware of a potential threat, that they're reporting it. And then we have to be able to react quickly if it happens, in terms of trying to lock down that campus and secure our campus as quickly as we can. I've heard talk about putting metal detectors up. There is no guarantee even with a metal detector. Our fences, throw something over, hide it, whatever. It's not an absolute, but we can try to make sure that we're monitoring the place that people can get onto campus more closely.
Excellent, thank you. Have the schools looked into changing the tones of their alarms to reflect, for example, one tone for fire, one tone for shooter, and another tone for something else?
We do use one tone for fire and another one for lockdown, but we haven't gone as far, at least in Roseville Joint, I can't speak for the other districts, we haven't gone as far as to have a different tone for an active shooter versus, another type of threat. But we do definitely practice those drills with the different tones for evacuation versus lockdown.
The only thing I would add that, Mr. Duran, is that I think the research shows that if we make it too complex with different tones and codes and sign, it gets too complex, and we forget those things in those crises moments. So, it's also important to keep it as simple as possible and just drill that muscle memory into our teachers, our kids, and our administrators.
Thank you. What can schools do to assist those students who are emotionally or have their emotions exacerbated due to these school shooting events?
When we have these types of situations, we make sure that our staff know that if they see a student in distress, and we tell our students that as well, that we want to know about it. So we try to get them with their counselor. If it's an event that's affecting many students, we'll set up a safe room on campus, and we'll use not only our school counselors, but we may pull from other resources. That could be from Placer County, for example. It could be the chaplaincy. It could be from another school site. So we want to know about it, and we've had students come forward. We've had other students report other students in distress. We've had teachers who have told us that they have a student in distress, and we get them to some help and some support.
Great. We've had discussions about public schools, but are similar procedures being used that you're aware of in charter schools?
Yeah, we have charters in the County Office of Education that we follow the same procedures as a public school would. Now, the non-public schools, I don't know, but I do have conversations with the administrators at those schools, and anytime that they ask, they're invited to our trainings. As I mentioned, we had active shooter trainings coming up in April and May, and we have invited some non-public school administrators to those trainings. So we try to make sure we involve them when we can, but I'm just not familiar enough with state law and the ed code for those private schools.
Has the district considered raising funds for top-of-the-line security camera systems throughout their campuses?
We're already doing that. We're putting in some outstanding systems, and we're just about halfway through that process. So we've gone through a design process. We've walked each of the cameras. We've seen where we need to put those cameras. We have the ability to zoom, to turn cameras, and to be able to save video, take snapshots, both in daylight as well as at night. And we're working on having it so that law enforcement will have access to those cameras as well. So if there is an event, they can see what's going on our campus.
Thank you. If the classrooms are required to be locked at all times, are the lunchroom doors left wide open or unlocked?
During lunchtime, they're going to be unlocked, but when lunch is not in session, most of the time the cafeterias are locked. It's a great point. It's something that we should probably consider about having those doors locked and having the ability to quickly lock them, by pulling the magnetic strip or the door block. So I can just tell you my experience when I was principal at Roseville High School. The cafeteria doors during lunch were unlocked. The ones that faced the street were locked. The ones that the students entered and exit were unlocked during the lunch period.
Thank you. This one is a question related to the sandyhookpromise.org. Yes, the county is aware of that particular organization, and I believe we're going to be taking a look at what things that they provide to assist with our programs here in Placer County. I think this one is for you, Brad. If we opt to keep our kids home on 3/14, will the absence be excused?
A parent always has the right to excuse their student, so if you choose to keep them home, that's your choice. Now, if a student is left, comes to school and leaves without permission, that would be an unexcused absence. But we made the decision. I can't speak for other districts. I can only speak for our district. In our district, that if a parent and a student feel strongly about being involved, being out and protesting or having their voice heard, we're going to allow the parent to excuse that. But again, it has to be parent permission.
And this is just a comment. We need to make the punishments for threats and actions better known to make the kids understand and be accountable for their actions. And this is for Mr. Banks. Yes, you can get the video. I've got your card, and we will make sure that you have access to both videos if you would like. When finalizing the choices that may be implemented to protect our schools, who makes the final decision?
It's a collaborative it's a collaborative process. So we value the input of our staff, the site safety teams, and then we work at the district level on a district safety team. I meet regularly at the county level, and we learn from each other. We value the input of our first responders and law enforcement. So this is a collaborative process to put in best practices. And then we make sure that we have the board policies and the training to support those practices.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I've tried to, there was a lot of questions that were parts of other questions. I tried to get those together. I want to thank everybody for coming. I know it's late. I want to first thank all of our presenters for attending tonight. So we can give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. I want to also thank Placer County, our public outreach department, for setting up all of our video and audio tonight. And I hope what comes out of this, district-wide, county-wide, that we continue to have dialogue with all of our partners. Everybody is involved and a part of the solution here for prevention. Hopefully you've come away from this forum understanding that it's not just one piece, the school's responsibility or law enforcement's responsibility or the county's responsibility, but everybody has a role to play, including you parents and guardians, in helping prevent folks. So I want to thank you for coming. It's my pleasure to put this on. Have a good night. Have a safe night. Travel home.